Jane, and welcome to another Is It Worth the Grind video. Today we're looking at the Skoda TVP T50 51, the tier 10 Czech medium tank. So is this thing worth the grind? As always, we'll find out throughout the video, but first off, let's start with the grind. So at tier 6 we get the Skoda T25, pretty nifty little autoloader, really low pendo on these guns, so you really have to be deliberate in what and how you shoot this gun. But other than that, the tank is pretty good. It's above average for the tier 6s. The research path, you just want to get everything but the radio. The radio is just kind of a waste in this line of throughout the entire grind. At tier 7 you get the T34 100. Kind of love-hate relationship in this tank. I mean, the gun is okay for the tier. I mean, 175 250 damage is pretty healthy for the tier. The accuracy and aiming time stats are absolute ass on this, so it is a bit annoying. Also, fun fact, playing tier 7 medium with 126 pen is not a lot of fun, so yeah. Good shit. But anyways, I kind of grew to like this tank in the end, but it can be a struggle. Rest of the modules, though, all should be researched, apart from the radio once again. At tier 8, TVP VTU. This is probably the most interesting tank in, it's the most interesting tank in regards to what kind of setups you can use on this. I covered this properly in my review of the tank, but there's a lot of setups you can use here in theory, but I played it with a 105. You can just ignore this gun and not ever research it and play it with the 100 mil, well no, with the 88 mil. This is the gun you would use if you didn't research the 10.5, so I would recommend going for this gun and keeping it with stock turret probably is better. If you go for the 10.5, you definitely want to play with the top turret as well. Playing top turret with an 88 might fit your style better as well. It depends. You should really try out the 88, and if you're happy with how it performs with the stock turret, don't even bother putting the top one up. And if you're not, then just you can always go and experiment. The engines again are like shared between everything as well. No, this is actually one of the kind. Never mind. At tier 9 we get the first auto loading beast here. So this gun is a bit of a waste of time. It's like the non-auto loading version, but it's not really that impressive. It lacks a bit of pen compared to the auto loading gun, and the rate of fire on this is not like exceptional for the alpha damage that it does, so it falls behind on DPM from tanks like T54 and stuff. So I don't really recommend using this at all. Again, the rest of the research tree is pretty straightforward, and this gun is really impressive. The 3-shot autoloader really makes this thing quite something. At tier 9 it has insane potential. Like acing this probably is the hardest thing you can do in this game at the moment, so this tank has insane potential. It can be kind of difficult to use because this gun isn't really all that accurate. It's not definitely as accurate as it seems here. That all the soft stats are a bit shit, but anyways, for a tier 9 medium this is extremely capable and definitely a really good tank. And then we get to tier 10. So as always, let's start with the armor. Not really much to talk about here. I mean, the hull is pretty shit. 65mm plate angle how you want, and it's gonna still be pretty shitty until you get some silly angles. The tank has good gun depression, so if you use all that, then you can get some lucky bounces here. I mean, it depends. Like flat out, this tank is gonna be pretty bad, but as you can see, the armor gets quite good here with a lot of auto bounce angles if you just can use a lot of your gun depression and get lucky at the same time. So it's actually not as bad as something like Batchet is kind of a similar way, but Batchet's turret is slightly worse than this. But again, the turret is not very good. It might look all red, but it's only 120mm and it's pretty damn flat there as well. So in general, the turret is not very good until you shoot like the ricochet angles on the sides. The turret is also quite rounded, but the good news about this is that your gun is mounted kind of high up, kind of similar to the STB1, so this presents a really small target when you're using your gun depression effectively. And also your gun mantlet could be better, but there is some places where you can get some silly armor and there is some places where you're not going to get any armor, so you know, don't really expect much, but this can actually surprise you with bouncing a shot here and there more often than you would really think. Let's look at the gun depression before we head out. So it's 8 degrees to the front and just 2 to the back. Pretty standard. I mean, the fact that Yeah, like it has quite a lot of gun depression for quite a wide angle, and the back gun depression is really only effective just when you look really behind you. So it is pretty good in that regard, and 8 degrees is nothing to laugh about as well. So that being said, let's get into the replay. And here we go. 1800 health, 410 meter view range, 60 kilometers top speed limit forwards, 20 backwards, power to weight 25.19. Tank traverse 54, turret traverse 36. When we come to the gun, we get 2603 base DPM. This is an autoloader, so no rammers here, so the DPM is not gonna get better. 320 damage per shot, 248 penetration. The stock reload time for the magazine is 25 seconds. You get 4 shots per clip. Accuracy 0.35, aiming time 2.1. Shot reload between, in the autoloaders, between shots is 1.5 seconds. So to sum it up, it's kind of like a batch shot on steroids. It's slightly slower, just slightly. The power to weight is lower by like 3 kilometers, and the top speed limit is lower by 5, so it's really up there with the batchet on the speed side of things. When it comes to the guns, you get much better DPM by like 300 damage per minute. You obviously get less alpha damage and less shots in the clip, and less span as well, to be fair, but your gun handling is so much better than on the batchet that it's not really all that close. So we're playing Sand River here. Not really the best map for this tank, and now when we see what we're facing, this is even worse. Do waste all 3 shots in my mag, but the thing about this tank, the 25-second reload is like nothing. You just turn around, peek somewhere else, and you're pretty much reloaded already. So this tank is really quick to relocate, reposition, and do damage anywhere you want, and the 4-shot autoloader over the 3-shot autoloader makes a huge difference as well. This tank is way superior in my opinion. It's like way more consistent than the tier 9. That was one of the best tier 9 tanks in the game, but I think this just tops that because the consistency you can get with the 4 shots. Even if you miss one, you can still do 900 damage, and obviously if you hit all 3, it's 1200 per clip, even, well, slightly more than that. So yeah, the 4 shots is really nice, and what's even probably better than the 4 shots is the 1.5 second reload between shots. It's not really the greatest position for me to fight here. That's like trying to shoot a fucking RU that's like really, well, that's just annoying. I just need to get lucky to hit him, and I'm not getting lucky. So pretty bad start for me. 2 max that I didn't do shit in, but at the same time, I can't really do anything else. As long as the 62A and the 155 sits up there, we don't really have much we can do about it. With our 8 degrees, we can peak this quite easily. There is 2 arties we need to worry about as well, and we definitely don't want to trade against that. So we're just going to reposition and look for something slightly better than that. So the most important thing to master when playing this tank is positioning and then trading effectively. Like, you really don't want more than 1 person shooting you at the same time when you unload, even though the reload between shots is only 1.5 seconds. Like, if you hang around for too long, if you just let your enemies reload and shit like this happens, a really bad trade for me. I traded 400 from the E5 for only 600 of mine. The magical E5 side armor saved him there twice, so I cry every time and just fuck off in a shitty trade because there's not really much I can do about it. Positioning yourself in spots on the map where you can retreat after reloading is extremely important in this tank, as it is in most autoloaders, but in this one it's probably even more important because this is probably one of the, well, it's definitely on par with the 57 Heavy on how fast it reloads the mag, and like being efficient with your trades is really important, and then peeking again and killing the same guy in 2 clips in like 30 seconds is probably the best thing you can do with this tank. Really shitty last shot there that denies me the chance to kill the E50M. I will be reloaded again in no time at all, so I'll be able to just go back and finish him off if I desire. The equipment I recommend using on this is bird stab, optics, and vents. Don't really think this tank needs a gun length drive, so I don't really go for that. But if you don't really like the aiming too much, you can obviously go for gun length drive as well. And the cruise skills, just the good old medium tank skills. There's nothing really interesting there at all. And now we finally might be able to kill this E5, but E5 potato armor, need to be careful of that, but he's gonna turn his side to me for some reason. So we do get to pick up that kill as well. And taking these kind of free damage shots is really important to this tank. Like, avoiding trades as much as you can is extremely important. Just wait till somebody else takes a hit for you and then go in full support and just punish whoever is shooting your teammates. Now, a pretty easy shots in this 50B. He also, I'm pretty sure, shot all of his shots out, but the push 145 is right there as well, and we do end up nailing him as well. So, a really healthy clip there, really quick, and this guy didn't really match the success of our autoloader there. But the speed at which this tank inflicts damage is pretty nuts. The only thing that really... Well, it's kind of, I guess, between a 57 heavy and the Waffle. The Waffle obviously can do more. It can do, like, up to 3k damage. But, like, let's not forget that this tank is a medium tank and it's really fast. And here's some potato play against this guy. I thought I should be able to pen his side, but I couldn't. And then I missed the one shot that I should not. But he gets RD, so in the end, none of that even mattered. I just needed to track him and it was over for him. And another quick reload. The 50B couldn't even rush me even if he wanted to, and now we can just go for the reload and then kill the 50B. As most other autoloaders, this is pretty decent at playing defensive as well. If you're getting rushed, just track whoever is trying to rush you, shoot him a couple of times and then fall back. The average time tanks take to repair their tracks is around 7 to 10 seconds, depends on the crew, and in that time you can easily just fall back and you're gonna be almost halfway through your reload time. They peak you for the second time, which means that you really get some efficient trades there. This tank can eat things alive. It can eat a heavy tank up alive with 2 clips, so you don't really want to rush this thing if you play against it. When you play against it, you should really try to trade one shot for one. It's kind of difficult when the reload on this is so fucking quick between the shots, and now the Air doesn't really stand a chance against me either unless he looks right in my face, and that is a bit unlikely since the E5 is actually engaging with him, and we get quite an easy shot here now. Did blow all the first one to not get the kill there, but it doesn't really matter. Last shot on the pretty bad auto in there. Didn't really have a chance to hit him anyways, but we go for a reload behind this hill and it's just fine for us. They can't hit me, and this tank is also pretty effective at killing RD. If you're lucky you can kill 3, it depends on the tiers of the RDs, but 2 is pretty easy to kill in a really short span of time as well. And in general, RD players don't really expect this insanely quick reload, so they usually take too much time. But then again, this budget was aiming for way too long for this to really work. But it was quite unlikely that he would one-shot... Well, not quite unlikely, it was a bit unlikely that he would one-shot me. But that's a game, not a very impressive game. But again, I think that the thing about this tank is that it's way more consistent than the Tier 9, even though the Tier 9 probably has the same kind of potential, but this just delivers more often, to be fair. Anyways, here's the end plate. 2058 experience with premium count, ace tanker, high caliber top gun, 5,663 damage done, 1,324 assisted. So the final verdict is the TVP T50 51 worth the grind. Well, fuck yeah, it is. What else can I really say? I mean, it's one of the most powerful tier 10 medium tanks. I think it's up there with the Object 140 to contest to be the best tier 10 medium in the game at the moment. It definitely trumps the Batchat pretty easily. It's much more user-friendly than the Batchat as well. The Batchat still has that 2k damage potential in that magazine, but this just reloads faster and the gun handling is much better as well, which in general makes this better than the Batchat. It might be subject for a future nerf, but obviously that's just speculation. The tank is really good and it's definitely one of the best tier 10 mediums. It kind of cripples the game a bit because there's no real counter to this tank. You can rush it, sure, but you'll still take so much damage in the process. And as I said before, if you just track your enemies with the TVP, there's no real counter to it. You just cannot do that. And like, sure, if you drive like a heavy, just try to trade 1v1 and try to position yourself well. But like playing against this tank is really frustrating, and it is quite an annoyance. Anyways, thanks a lot for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one.